In this video, we clean, disassemble, and assemble a PC. Today's goals are dedusting a little, taking the parts we need, power supply, RAM, graphics card, and an NVMe SSD, assembling the new PC, and testing the new PC. So let's start with cleaning because it's a little dusty, as you can see. Here I use a wet wipe so that the dust doesn't spread. You should be careful not to touch any exposed parts or pins, especially on the bottom of the motherboard. For panels, you should be good. This is what happens when you put your case on the ground. I'm going to use this brush for cleaning it. Just a touch with a wet wipe. Just like that, dedusting is done. I'm going to take out the RAM, graphics card, one of the M.2 SSDs, and power supply. So I'm starting with GPU because I need it for testing PCI Express slots, and by removing it, I will be able to work easier in the case. Here's the dust filter for power supply. Not bad at all considering the case is on the floor. I always struggle with PCI Express connectors. Always. And finally, graphics card is out. Let's give it a quick cleanup. And if you're wondering, it's a RX 5700 XT. If I remember correctly, I installed the 970 Evo under this heatsink. After a little bit of wiggling, heatsink is out. And yes, 970 Evo is under here. The other one is a Seagate FireCuda 520. The kit here is a G-Skill Ripjaws 32 gig 4000 CL18. As you can see, I'm trying to take out the RAM without unscrewing the CPU cooler, the AIO. So, unscrewing it is. Both RAM sticks are out for testing the RAM slots on the motherboard and memory channels on CPU. I'm going to mount the CPU cooler, but it could take a while, so I called for backup. This is my mom. Shout out to her. Like always, something doesn't want to go according to plan. And I had to unscrew the AIO again to take out an EPS cable. I don't know if you realized, but I'm the type that says, if it works and doesn't bother you, don't touch it. Fun fact, when I assembled my PC during COVID, I didn't install GPU or any kind of SSD. I just installed the 2TB Seagate Barracuda. Finally, the EPS cable is out. That's the 24-pin motherboard connector. And let's go for power supply. Here's the 8-pin PCIe. And SATA power cable. I figured it's easier to disconnect cables when the power supply is screwed in the case. And power supply is out. I know it's overkill for a 12600K paired with a RX 5700 XT, but I assembled the PC during COVID and the GPU shortages and blah blah. Just like that, we have all of the parts I need to test the new motherboard and CPU. Originally, I bought this HDD just in case, but so yeah, laptop's HDD to the rescue. The reason why I'm testing with 2 HDD is that this motherboard has 8 SATA ports and with only one SATA storage, I needed to restart 8 times to test all ports. But with 2, it takes just 4. That's a huge time saver. Let's start this journey. The CPU goes into socket with a little bit of wiggling to make sure it's in the socket perfectly. I know for a fact that this motherboard posts with single stick of RAM, but when buying second hand, you never know the history of that part. That satisfying click. I really love this sound. Let's go for the M.2 SSD. Unfortunately, it's before the toolless M.2 installation era, and I did this the first day. I just came from the shop and it slipped from my hand on the ground. It's working no problem though. After some wrestling with the Intel box cooler, which this is my first time installing, it's finally in. For SATA ports, I'm going to use this HDD, which I borrowed from my laptop, and another HDD, which I took from the PC earlier. Let's connect the SATA power. And the final piece, graphics card. There goes the 24-pin connector. And the 8-pin EPS. The last cables, two SATA data cables. Moment of truth.